Hello and welcome again to Steve's Long Stay Workshop, and on the bench today we've got the Stellaphone tape recorder. It's a Philips in disguise, but with a very interesting deck. Everything is controlled on one knob here. This was the one that Philips came out, played with and used before the stuff like the EL3515 and the EL3541 came out. Interesting machine in a number of different ways actually. Like I said, everything is on this knob here, so there it's on but doing nothing. There, press it down and it forward winds it. Press it down, it should rewind, but as you can tell it doesn't. Now this is a bit stuck, this, so we'll we'll see what we'll see. That is not 3 3/4. You go there to see worth wine, but some reason that is all over the show. So that's what I was up to start with this, and from there, therefore, we now go to look at what's going on inside it. All the belts are there, obviously, but there's something amiss somewhere, so we'll take the tape off and we'll have a look inside. All around this knob. So we'll start by taking the lid off and having a look inside here. Now with this machine, it's different, and you have to think very much about how to balance it. By balancing it, we mean the take-up reel and the supply reel, or supply, that's the take-up on this, have to be balanced correctly, and the reason why it doesn't rewind at all is because it's out of balance. That might affect the play as well, we don't know, but that it does happen with these, so that's the first thing we look at. So at some point this should come off. Very soon it should come off. Just hope on its way, as it were. We'll have a look under here. Now the fact that it winds both ways straight away suggests to me that both the belts are okay on this deck, which is good to know, because on these decks they can be rather difficult to change. One is easy to change, one most certainly is not, and guess which one tends to fail? Exactly that one. So on here we've got the razor, the playback recorder, that's the playback thing there, and the capstan is there, and where's the capstan? Capstan, where's the capstan? Not no capstan on this thing. Well, straight away I found a problem, because of course it should have a capstan wheel, which it's not. So we've got that to look up and find one for it. And also, by the way, that proves that the HT is there, and that proves that the amplifier works. So before we go any further, I know what, oh, it's there, the capstan, right, so that should go forward, and it should, which is not done, so there's something with the mechanism here which we need to sort. Yeah, that's the capstan there. It's dirty but feels reasonably okay. So the first thing we do is get the deck working, and then inside we go to look more closely at the electronics. So on we go, as it were, to see what is not doing what it should. With these, by the way, the ST451, they have some interesting features such as the mic input as well, which goes out to the speaker, which I'll show you later on. This, by the way, was found in a lady's passage. It's actually leaving this out for dustman, surprisingly, but Chris brought it here, and me being me, we want to get this thing working, which is what we're going to do. So that goes there, so that should go there. That's there, that's there. Okay, well that's it's there now, but that's come to the top there, so we'll put that back on, and it won't come back. So obviously this here, I might do it now. Okay. Okay. So on we go with the oil in various parts of it, and we'll take it from there. So back in a moment, as they say, when I've got the thing oiled, and with them hopefully playing reasonably well. It won't play perfectly because there will be caps to change in this, but most of the problem with this are the deck, and the deck as well will look first with this thing. Right, well, with this machine fully apart here, as you can see, one or two things come to light. First of all, this belt on the rewind is it's total mechanism to get it going, as you can see if I set it going like that. Got an amount of torque, but it's not actually doing enough to rewind the tape when the tape is played. So I'm going to change that belt. It's got to be a belt that's big enough to get onto this wheel here, because it picks up from there and goes to there. So that belt has to be a big one. I'll look online and see if I can find one that'll do it. If I've not, well, yeah, I'll have to find another way of doing it. I noticed there is more play on this, so a smaller belt might be alright. I'll check and see on that by looking on another machine I've got where I did change the belts 3 or 4 years ago. Also, by the way, with any machine like this, the other thing you need to be sure of, very sure of, is certain capacitors, grid caps in particular. Now, if it's switched on, wait for it to warm up. First of all, the EL3527, by the way, on this, the two stages are used in separate circuits. But first of all, that is the output of it there, and the grid is at 0. The caps in these are in fact pretty good, so normally I'll recommend it to change them, but because this is not going anywhere, I'm going to leave it. They're all okay on this. I've checked right through the circuit. The circuit, by the way, is on my phone here, so I can look at it anytime I want. So capacitors number 18 and 9 and 7 are all okay. I've checked it. So that way, all you need to do is check on the grids of the various capacitors, the various valves, and make sure that there is virtually nothing on them. So it's that one, got nothing on. Okay, that one's got nothing on. And the other one, of course, is that one, which we know has got nothing on. So it's C8, C18, C9, and of course C7 as well, which goes to yeah. So that's it. So now these capacitors go from the anode of one valve, which has a high voltage on it, to the grid of the next one, where AC can pass okay for audio, but obviously not DC. So again, there, what we do, go up to 600 volts or so on the meter here. Look at it, that is pin 6, so AF86, pin number 6. That one, right, okay. Come over here, and there's nothing there. It's there, you see. So all these capacitors seem to be okay, which means therefore that there's nothing nothing really nasty to deal with on this as of yet. So they're okay. So the valves, chances are they will be okay. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this back in its case, having checked those, and check underneath here as well, because underneath here there are little pieces of rubber which hold the wheels at a certain height. So when the knob here is pressed down to wind, it would do. So that's the next thing I'm going to be working on. So excuse me for a minute while I put it back down in one place. I don't do this on camera, by the way, because I am disabled and I swear a lot when I'm doing these things. So obviously I don't want you to hear that, because this is supposed to be a family channel. Haha. So if you excuse me, I'll be back with you in just a minute. Now on these decks, the play mechanism and the head mechanism operate in an interesting way, and on this one I'm afraid it is broken. So just for the record, we'll go through what happens. This control here, it's switched off by the way now, is a cam. Yeah, it operates a cam. I'll switch it on, hang on. There we are. So that control is a cam. Yeah, setting 1, power on but nothing else. Setting 2, wind forward. Setting 3, wind back. I know there's a belt to get, I'm onto that. Next settings are here and there. Now the difference is that at these settings, this wheel, this lot here, which is the capstan, goes and it does that and regulates the speed so that the machine can be played, which it's finished this tape, but that's what should happen. Okay, and of course record. Now what's happened here, thank you very much. What's happened here, switch off again, there you are. That's stayed where it is now because it should be pulled back, which it isn't. And it isn't because some bits are missing. I've got them here. This spindle here holds this, and on top of it the pause control, which pushes the capstan away slightly for pause. Now this here appears to be okay. I'm not sure yet, but this here appears to be okay. At the top there, you see, that appears to be okay. It goes on there like I said. See? Now and in the deck here, that should link up to this thing, which it doesn't. It's a bit out of the way now, so I need to get it back. And that should link to this, and the cam should push this away when the thing is switched off or on the wind, but it's not doing, of course. The capstan is there, and it does that there, and that spring push it back like that, and this here pushes it forwards so that it will then go into there like that. You can hold that in place, but it doesn't do it because here the thing which holds it, it appears to be broken off. There's a lug broken off almost completely, and this and that go together and pushes that capstan on or off. Well, that's it. You see, if I was to put that like that, you see, that should now put pressure on it. It should push it back. I'm not on a rope thing, but you see there, you see there, there you see it's push it back and forward. You see, so now you see if I put it part way, it should do it, but it won't do yet. But it will do. The mechanism is fairly stiff, of course, but at the moment it's stiff because it's faulty. So it has to be on faulty side, as it were, which I can do by building this up here, which is what I'm going to do now. So that's where we're up to with it, and I'll now get the manual, find out exactly what goes where, and find out how we can make it work again. If it doesn't work that way, what I can do, I could put a lever here, so the user can put this by a lever here. But the best way to do it, of course, is the way it should be done. So this is okay. This is it. That's fine. That's fine. Really, it's fine that. But well, that isn't. You see. And again, if I let that go forward, there we are. Everything's in and well and happy. But try and come off. It doesn't come off. So there, that's how it does it. And what it does when that bit is not working. So at this point, I will now go away and find out precisely what it does and how it does it, and how we can get it working again using parts from around the workshop. So I'll be back a little bit later on, and hopefully we'll find a way of sorting this out. Looking around YouTube, by the way, I found out that this neck is not really covered at all. So what I'll do, there's a fault here on this deck which I'm going to fix, but before I do, I thought I'd go through and show you what the fault was on this thing. That's the switch there that turns it, operates, you know, and the cam there, you see, which means that basically what happens is that it controls how far away from the idler this capstan is, using this here, you see, through parts number 1, 2, 3 and 1, 1, 3, which is there, linked to that post there. That, by the way, is the capstan wheel there, and they are the pressure pads for the heads on the same thing. And also, although it's not shown on there, there is also a spring which makes it spring forward, and that which puts it back. So the whole thing is, in theory, the right way about. Now, if we go back a bit, this is upside down actually, but here again, you see, this is switch to play, and that there is this. Yeah, this bit here is there, like that, and that there, at the top there, like this. So you can see there, bottom of that, you see, holding onto it a clip which is bent out of shape in this, which is what the problem is, and that there is screwed to the bottom of this, which is the capstan wheel. So again, the whole thing is held together in that way. Here it's just you see cap 113 is there, which is there, and of course 1, 2, 3 is the head thing which goes on the it is what holds against it. So the whole lot is held should be held in status, as it were, and where it's held is held by the cam you see there and there. Now the problem with this set, give me a minute, there we are. The problem is this bit here, 1, 2, 3, which is out of position quite badly. So that needs to be put back in position and bent back into shape to go into here, which, as I said, is here, like that. You see, like that. See? So that's what the problem is with it. Also with this deck, by the way, the belts underneath on this they are okay, but I will change them, and also the balancing is done under the real table, so I'll look at that as well. But that is basically how it works with this unit. So let's get to it and let's have a look at what the problem is and what to do. Actually, I think there's a picture on my phone actually of this faulty bit, so I'll just bring it up for you. There we go, and it's there. You can see it. It's right there. You see, and there's another version. That there you see. It's the same thing, but it's that misfocus. But you see there that it's out of shape. So that's the problem with this set. It's I've not seen this problem on these sets before, but all this stuff is getting old now. By the way, all the notes of this deck, by the way, came on the series data Philips EL3527, which is the same as the Stellaphone ST451. Stellaphone and Philips by this time were the same unit, and the Stellaphone one is more popular. Now, this circuit actually, I can read the diagram okay, but the rest of it is in German, so spec and Deutsch, that's our Dutch, I don't know which, but there you go. Anyway, that's the problem, and if we can possibly get a look at the unit here, you see, it's here, see, and that goes up like that, and that should push it back, like I said the other day, but it doesn't as of yet, but it will do at some point very soon, and so that's the problem. So let's go have a look and let's see if we can put it right, shall we? It's quite simple. Right, well, at this stage now, I think that I've got this bit here correct, as far as I can tell, but it gumps into playback or record too early. If I put it in power on mode, not having. That's fast forward, that's okay, and that should be rewind, but as you can see here, it's gone up there, because that has gone all the way where it should do. So therefore, I think that this cam and this switch need to be looked at. It's not too different, I don't think, from the cams in a gearbox, but when things like cams get out of shape, things do happen. So again, that's off, that's play, that's on, but nothing happening. That's rewind, so that's switch forward. That's rewind, as you can see at that point now. You see that is now engaged. It shouldn't be, and that will not go any further because of these here behind. And so this cam needs to be looked at. I'm not sure whether it's cam or cams on this. I'll open it up and we'll find out. But the first thing I'm going to do here, before I go any further with it, again, I'll get the diagrams and I'll show it to you before I go ahead. But this switch obviously needs to be set up right as well. That's the next thing to do. And then hopefully this machine could be on its way back to health again. This is the switch, of course, that does everything, and in this case, if anyone made it fool themselves, it was me, because there's nothing wrong with this switch. Everything is in order on this. The cam is there, you see, and everything else, just like the switch, and the switch is fine. It switches the spindles in and out, of course, everything else. The cam is fine, but that is basically how the cam works. The problem actually is with the switch like before. I'll show you more of it in a minute. What happens is that this switch should have something on it to hold it in out of the way until it's actually wanted, and then it goes in. And so what I'm going to do is put some rubber on the switch to make it that bit longer, to hold this away from the cam, and that will then in turn make it work properly, I hope. That's the way it's going to work anyway, but that's the way it's going to work, I hope. So let's see, shall we? Let's find out. Well, people, I am officially an idiot. The problem was not solved by putting a bit of rubber on anything at all. The problem was that that there was not there, if you see there, was not shooting into there properly. It was so that was being driven by the surround rather than the thing rather than the driver itself. And so with it in place now, 1, 2, and now there you are, 3, and back again. You see? So that is now all right. Now the next problem we have with this is the winds. On this machine, of course, what happens is that you go there, you see, on fast wind, do that, and it does have some top, but not enough. Now, go to your side now. Again, same applies. Now, with this deck, you push the knob down and it winds. Oh, misses. And so underneath these, which come off with the clip on top here, there are the little washers and things, and they come loose or they break. So now I've got to balance these two up, and that should be enough to make it wind properly. Then after that, of course, does it play, does it record? If so, it's done. Give it a clean, Bob's your auntie, or Bob's your uncle, depending on whatever your viewpoint is. But yeah, I am an idiot. Everyone does it, and this time it is my turn. So yes, I'm an idiot, I admit it. This here is a diagram of the mechanism of both the spindles. Underneath there's that which pulls the thing down to make it go, given by the drive belt, of course, down there. And up here, underneath the spindle, there are another wheel that holds onto it, and 2 of these little rubber washers here, and they go faulty, and they fail. So next thing we do is check those, because if they fail, then you can get the sort of effects that we have here. So that is the next thing we're going to do. Right, now here you see, I've got this spindle is now off the top here like that, and this wheel you see has not got the rubber things on, because of course at some point they have broke and drifted off. Now, as luck would have it with these, there are 2 more on the here. So what I do is I whip those 2 and put them on here. Hello. Like so. And by doing that, you can actually use part of the radio, part of the tape recorder in another way, like that. Right, now at this point with this tape recorder, now I've put the those on here, put this table back on, spindle back on, and loaded it up with the tape. So we'll see what it does. Okay? That's forward. There's rewind, and of course those people long for that's play. Now, there's no point be showing you how to put a belt on camera, because we all know that, and I haven't got a belt for this right now, but I will, and it goes on the side of the deck, which is accessible, because there's 2 parts of this deck. One side is accessible and one side isn't, and guess normally it's the inaccessible side that fills, but this one fortunately is the accessible side. So now of course there's only one other thing a tape recorder must do that's going to work, and this is the one which we need to look at. You see, playback is simple. The stuff, the music or speech or whatever, is stored on the tape. That's the tape there. You see, it's stored on the tape on the non-shiny side. On the non-shiny side, if I can get that. I can get that where it's going to go up on camera. There you are, you see. And now, when music or speech is stored on a tape, it's done with a bias signal. Without it, the tape audio will be distorted. And why that is something which we shan't go into here, but just for now, accept that that's the case. And so, therefore, also in the tape recorders, there's an oscillator stage which generates the bias as well for the record. Also, it also generates the signal for the erase head as well. And so, basically, if a tape recorder doesn't erase either, then that means that either the erase head or the signal which goes to the erase head. Sometimes it can sometimes record distorted because of capacity, but on all this the capacity seems to be alright, so I don't know about that just yet. I checked them and they're fine. So now I've got to get a microphone and read some rude poems into it and see what happens.
Tap her on the shoulder and give her the wink. Go on, Clara girl, have a bash, dear. Straight down the horn. Yeah? Nothing.
That's play, by the way, that's play. Now we go over to record, like that. And now we're in the room. And these tape recorders, this deck actually, I must say, it's not the most famous, well-liked deck in the industry. It's not one of Philips' best moments, this deck, but they do work, and they do work quite well when they're set up properly. This one I've done what I can with. All it needs now is a belt, but apart from that, it seems to be working, I think. We'll find that out in a minute from now. When I rewind this tape, I listen to myself and think, God, you really think me DJ? Anyway, let's see what happens. Any minute now. This one I've done what I can with. All it needs now is a belt, but apart from that, it seems to be working, I think. We'll find that out in a minute from now. When I rewind this tape, I listen to myself and think, God, you really think me DJ? Anyway, let's see what happens. And now, what I'll do now is I'll do what I can with. All it needs now is a belt. Is that, yeah, and that, and back again. What I'm doing here, by the way, is I'm erasing part of it. It's best moments this day, but they do work, and they do work quite well when they're set up properly. This one I've done what I can with. All it needs now is a belt. And that is the erase as well. So therefore, this machine is now working on play and record. So now it's a matter of cleaning up and putting it together. And this is another one, nicely finished and almost ready to go into service somewhere. Back in after about 70 years actually. No, about 68 years. But it's still going strong. But these decks, like I said, they're not the best deck, and not the best deck to start on, because they can be funny, and as we've seen, they can do some funny things, but they do work, and they do work well. And with these Philips machines, or this is a Stellaphone, which is a Philips in disguise, the capacitors in these, generally speaking, are generally okay, although always check them, always check them without fail. Right, well, it's finished. The Stellaphone tape recorder is finished, apart from the drive belt, which no point you see me put a drive belt on, because of course everyone of course has seen me put a drive belt on and stuff, so there's no point with that. But it's working on both winds, and of course on play and record as well. I've cleaned it up as well, and so this one is now ready to be used again after quite a long time. So, until next time, I'm Steve's Long Stay Workshop. Goodbye, and keep fixing radios and tape recorders. Bye bye.
You can't light a fire when the wood's all wet.